Okay, welcome back. In this lesson, we are going to be looking at how to make a customized sprite in RPG. Before we do that, you have to understand how sprites are utilized in RPG. So if I just show you, for example, the graphics. So actually all the RPGs in RPG Maker XP have 4 forward-facing characters, 4 left, 4 right, and 4 backwards. And basically what happens is when you press your down arrow or your left or your right, it just scrolls through all those views. So it looks like they're walking, okay? So that's one important thing. The second important thing is that you realize you're going to have transparency around your character. So there are pixel editors that you can actually create your 4x4 character in. It would be very time consuming. Or if you want to just import or create your own customized sprite, you can do all sorts of Google searches. So I've done a Google search here for RPG Maker sprites, and I found one here. This one, obviously, it would be a total of 1, 2, 3. This would be 8 characters, so there's a little bit of editing we're going to need to do. So I saved it, and I brought it into Photoshop, and I'll just kind of talk you through some of the basics. Again, you can create this stuff on your own if you like and do a variety of things, but just going to show you what I'm going to do here. So here's my template. I have transparency already, so you can see the gray and white background. This is a PNG, and I'm going to focus on this green girl up here. So in order to first of all edit it, I'm going to have to crop this document. So I'm pulling out my crop tool in Photoshop, and I'm going to just crop it so my focus is just on that green dressed girl. Now, another thing you need to be aware of is in RPG, as you're doing this, in RPG, it is very picky about dividing into very equal parts. So if you're a little bit off, your character might look like it's shuffling around when you press a certain direction. So you just want to be careful about that as well. And I'm not going to get into that detail here, but just kind of give you an idea of how to create it and what we're doing here. So just crop my photo. Now the problem here is I've got a 3x4 RPG, and that's not going to divide it properly. You won't see what you expect to see. So I'm going to have to create a 4th column. So I'm going to just pull up my crop tool again and create that space. Again, depending what you're doing, you might not have to do this. And I'm going to go ahead and copy this middle row and paste it again and create my 4th segment. Now I kind of want to space this out accurately. You could measure it perfectly, but you can see the distances between each should be somewhat accurate. And then we're going to have to crop it down, and you might have to do a better job than me. This might not look ideal. I'm just doing this pretty quickly, of centering it on every single quarter grid here. But this looks decent for my sake, okay? So the next thing you need to understand is that in RPG, if you'd like your character to be roughly the size of all these characters, you can make it bigger if you like. There are monsters and all that sort of stuff. So you can see, I believe there's ones that are much larger. But if you want it to be similar to these characters, in RPG, every single tile is 32 pixels wide. So if I've got a width in my Photoshop document that's 4 characters wide, I would have to take that image width and make it 128. So that would be 32 times 4. Okay, so to edit that, if you'd like it to be that size, I'm going to go to Image, Image Size, and make sure my pixels, now I'm getting lucky here because of the one I downloaded just happened to be done well. And you can see here, the width is already 128. If it wasn't, you'd change this pixels to 128. Don't worry about the height. That will edit itself as long as this lock ratio is on. But 128 pixels is what you're going to want. I'm going to hit OK. And I just have a couple more steps. I need to save this into the correct folder for RPG, and then it's going to appear. Okay, so what I need to do next is I'm going to go File, Save As. It's critical that I save this as a PNG. Okay, and I'll show you it has to go into the correct folder. So for me, I'm just going to find my game here. So here's my game folder that I'm currently using, and it's in Graphics and inside Characters. So I'm going to call this, and I've already done a few samples before, I'm going to call this RPG Character, actually I'll call RPG Sprite Video, just so you can see that it is there, okay? So now I've saved it in the right folder. So now in RPG, if I go to any particular graphic, so if I go here and I want to change that character, if I want to edit him, there's now a graphic here called RPG Sprite Video. So this is a 4x4, there's that girl there, and I can even make her walk around. So I'm just going to make her walk around just so you can see that she legitimately from every angle looks quite good here. So if I go ahead and play my game, there she is. Okay, so you can see her walking around, all the angles look good, and she's walking around like a normal character. You can also, if you want to make yourself that character, you would just do that in the database. So inside the database, under character, there's character graphics. Okay, and you can see now there's RPG Sprite Video. So there she would be. Okay, you can also edit the battler graphic. You'd make any document you want to. You'd save the image and you'd put it in just a different folder. So essentially the folder that one would go in would be still inside the graphics folder, but it'd be in battlers. So if you put that in the battlers folder, then when you get into a battle, you'd have that unique battler graphic. So that is it for that lesson.